Today's project is installing the heated grips onto the Beverly 350. These are them. Bought them earlier in the year, got a good deal on them because nobody was buying heated grips in the summer. And now it's time to install. So normally you just run the cables straight to the battery, but I wanted to do things a bit differently as usual. You obviously need to connect them to a relay, not straight to the battery. So I decided to install one of these, which is an Oxford Junction Box, which is essentially a little, it's an additional auxiliary fuse box. You wire it straight to your battery. It has a trigger cable so that it knows when the ignition's on. And then you wire all of your additional bits straight into that. And each one of these ports is individually fused with about 4 amps, I think it is. Obviously though, these things are designed for motorbikes, not for scooters. So the cable on them is really tiny. It's only about 10 inches long. So I've had to extend the cable to get it to reach from the glove box all the way back to here. So this is a finished article. Haven't wired it into the battery yet, but this is the positive. I've put an inline fuse in place. There's the negative. It feeds underneath here, runs around here. This is it here. Comes up here, up through here, and then down into the back of the glove box. This little red cable here is the trigger cable. So this is the cable that it uses to read when the ignition's on. And I've just tapped that into the feed for the USB port through the hole. And it then pops out here. I've left plenty of cable on it to make it nice and easy to get it out when I'm working at it. And obviously this isn't waterproof, so it will go into a waterproof bag. I've decided to put it at the front, obviously, as I said, because that's where most of the accessories are going to go. I didn't want to put it under the seat because there's a risk it will get knocked. And these cubby holes are so small, you can't even fit a mobile phone in them nowadays, so they're pretty useless. So I figured it was the most obvious place to put it. So that's that. That's all wired in. I haven't tested it. I'm going to do that now, but it should work. Famous last words. But then once that's done, then the job is just to strip down the handlebars and install the grips. So as soon as that's done, I'll do another video, and fingers crossed I'll have toasty hands. There you go. So that's it. Front of the bike is now stripped. Haven't put this back together. Oh, I did test the junction box and it's all working perfectly. So yeah, I've now got to start removing the grips and installing a new one, which I know is going to be difficult because I've only seen this done with a compressor where you blow air in to get the old grips off, and I don't have a compressor, so I really don't want to have to cut them off. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway. Okay, so the grips are now on. Everything was relatively straightforward. Getting the old grips off was easy, using a bit of WD-40. Cleaned it all up. Getting the new grips was fairly easy. Needed to use a mallet, but it was okay. Everything is now on. I haven't yet obviously put the bike back together. Everything is still in bits. The cables are more or less routed. I just need to do a bit of fine tuning of the cable routing as I start to put it all back together. The junction box is working off the ignition as we would expect, and the switch is installed and it's on, and we have nice warm grips. So all in all, a success. I haven't tested the drawage of the amps yet. I will do that, but I'd say it's going to be fine. So all I've got to do now is the laborious task of putting everything back together. Okay, so we're back. It's about 3 or 4 days now since I fitted them, and I'm going to do a temperature test. I have done quite a few rides with the heated grips on, and they are a game changer, which I realise is probably stating the bloody obvious. One of the rides I've done was in around 8 to 10 degrees, and on the high setting it was actually too warm. Another ride I've done where it was about 5 degrees and the high temperature was warm but toasty, it wasn't too warm. So once it gets any lower than that, if I'm still able to ride, if there's no ice, they're going to be fine. And that's using a regular pair of my Tucano Ubanu gloves, winter gloves. So I'm finally going to do the temperature test. The bike's been sitting in the garage overnight, and I've just wrapped a thermometer around the grip, and it's currently reading 4.7 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is start it up, put it on low, take another reading, turn it to high, take another reading, and see what real world temperatures we're getting. So things have been on for a while. The engine was running for a while there. I've just turned it off for the video, and the grips are on the low setting, as you can see, and we're getting a reasonably consistent reading of around 21. It's still going up ever so slightly, as you can see, but it's going to be around 21, 22 on the low setting, which should be about right, because I believe these are meant to go to about 40 or so degrees on high, so it would make sense that low is half of that. And this is with them set to high, as you can see there, and we are recording a rather massively warm 48.2. It still could probably hit 50 if I left it on for ages. I've had to run the engine to keep the volts nice and high, but it's still ticking up. So yeah, they get pretty bloody warm. I think I read somewhere that they are rated up to about 40, but obviously it's not particularly scientific. But I would imagine they get into about 50 once they've been on for a while. They take about 5 minutes to get up to about 40, and then yeah, they're still creeping up. So yes, super toasty on the high setting and amply warm on the low setting.